What's up, and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today we are bringing it back to our Quentin Tarantino marathon of films with Inglourious Basterds. This movie was actually the first Tarantino film I ever saw in a theater. It takes place at the height of Hitler's reign during World War II and focuses on the titular Inglourious Basterds, which are a group of rebels that have one purpose in life, which is to kill Nazis. Meanwhile, it also focuses on a young Jewish woman with a Kill Bill-sized heart full of revenge for one man that slaughtered her entire family. The real question is, what happens when these two worlds collide? This experience watching Tarantino films is always interesting because you can almost sense the evolution of the tone and attitude of his films. Up to this point, his films have mostly just been fun, well done all around, but fun films that never took themselves too dangerously serious because the attitude at the heart of the films was often bold, snarky, self-aware in a politically incorrect kind of way. The same can kind of be said about Inglourious Basterds, but it feels a lot more serious as it took a huge page out of our own history, a time we often don't like to think about due to the horrific details associated with it. World War II is an incredibly delicate subject and setting for any movie and can easily upset a wide variety of people if approached improperly. But Inglourious Basterds approaches it a little bit differently than most films. It's not at the battlefront, it's not Jewish hidey holes or detention camps, but instead it's told through an almost modern day vantage point on Nazis. Everybody's against them. That is, other than the Nazis themselves. And everybody wants them dead. Period. Beyond that, death isn't even enough as they feel the need to discalp them as well. It's essentially everybody's attitude towards the Nazis in this film that is honestly kind of refreshing. It's satisfying. It's the element of the movie that feels fun when watching, even though a lot of the subject matter in this movie is dead serious. The first chapter of this movie is 20 minutes long, and the sole purpose of it is to introduce Christoph Waltz's character and the pure, unadulterated tension that he brings to the screen. I still remember this scene like it was yesterday when I saw it in the theater, and it is still impossible to watch this actor in anything else and not think about his role in this film first. It is that powerful. He commands the screen to the point where the audience feels just as much anxiety watching him deliver his lines as the characters in the movie feel when he delivers those lines to them. Waltz may have been in several films before this one, but this was his breakout role. That is something nearly impossible to argue against. Other than that, it's hard not to also mention how strong the film does exactly what it needs to do to stand out on a technical level. Production design, costume, hair, and makeup takes you into the past. The cinematography and framework helps an already great story feel that much more cinematic. The editing is just good enough to help tell the story in an effective and unique way, as per usual. While I usually think the music and sound is fantastic in a Tarantino film, I can't say that so much in this movie because even though it is good, there's not a lot of focus on it. You won't really remember it for the music and sound. And of course, the dialogue is fantastic. Most of that has to do with Christoph Waltz and his character, who always seems to be on the prowl, even when he's just being friendly, or is he really? He is honestly one of the best villains I have seen in a movie, at least in recent memory. The pacing of the film is also one of Tarantino's better paced films in my opinion, as this 2.5 hour long movie really doesn't feel like that runtime is real. That's mostly due to the long-winded scenes of dialogue that truly carried the heart and soul of the film. Also, all of these characters were diverse and memorable. They all played to their own strengths and independent importance into what's going on. They were not random or just filling space. Everybody were all brilliantly there by design. Anything negative that I personally have to say about this movie is all just areas that could have been a little bit better, but nothing that actually stood out as quote-unquote bad. Like how they could have focused a little bit more on the music, like I said, or how they could have dove deeper into the chemistry that everybody has together. Focusing more on those things could have technically made the movie better, but where it's at now isn't bad. Or how Tarantino usually stays away from conventional narrative techniques. There's not a set-in-stone inciting incident in this film, or a plan of specific action, so there's not really many conventional obstacles in their way either. They want to kill Nazis, and they're good at killing Nazis, but do they have much more of a plan beyond that? Not really. Everything that ends up looking like a surefire plan in the movie felt more like right place, right time than anything else. Had Tarantino focused a little bit more on that, the movie would have probably been scored slightly higher, but again, what it does isn't even that bad. I like what they did, and I always say in my Tarantino reviews, his methods don't match my scoring methods. So how I feel about his stuff doesn't always match my end score. It's a very good movie by almost all means. I give this film 93%, 93 out of 100 possible stars. If you're wondering where that ranks in my current Tarantino marathon rankings, it's in first place. I still have a little ways to go though, as there's actually still one Tarantino movie that I originally scored better than this, but my rewatch score may still change, so we will see. Guys, tell me what you thought about this movie in the comments down below. And as for YouTube, you know what to do. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. But until then, peace out!